Hey guys, before the video starts, I want to let everybody know that I stream over on twitch.tv/acrawford69. I stream a small variety of games, but make sure to stop by every Friday because I have a giveaway called Free Supporter Friday, where I raffle 3 supporter tags. It's completely free. All you have to do to enter is follow my Twitch and just be there on Fridays. You have to type the raffle command in my chat. I usually pick the winners around 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. So with that out of the way, let's just get into the video. When you hear the word underrated, what do you think of? In terms of Osu, you might think of an underrated play that's not worth much PP. You might think of an underrated mapper. However, you'll most likely think of an underrated player. Sure, there's lots of them. People like Digital Hypno, Ming. Their rank doesn't correlate to their skill at all. But a lot of people know about those players. And I personally don't think they're underrated in the eyes of others. When I think underrated, I think of players that don't receive nearly as much attention as they should. Some of these include people such as Alisim, Unko, and so on. However, there is one player I always see at the top of leaderboards, yet I never really hear anybody talk about him. Presenting who I think is a very underrated player, Jorgen from Fairly Odd Parents. Okay, not really, it's Cappy. Cappy resides in the US, sitting at a global rank of 121. His overall profile accuracy is 99.48 at the time of recording this. Right now, he has about 1,150 people following him. Sure, that's not a small number, but compared to some of the other top players, it's not a very big number either. I think his lack of social media promotion has to do with it, but I also think people just overlook him. Before I start talking about his history, I know some people are going to say things like, oh, he's not underrated, or everybody knows him. Throughout my time asking people, a surprising amount don't know who he is, or they had seen his name a few times without actually knowing how good he is. A simple search on the Osu Game subreddit will show that the most upvoted score post for him is extremely recent, with a decent 1.4k upvotes. It gets even easier to see why I consider him underrated when you notice that only 4 score posts of his have 500 plus upvotes. This is just one example of why I feel he is underrated and doesn't get quite as much recognition as he should. Anyways, I'll be going over this a bit more, but for now let's just go ahead and get started with the history. Cappy joined Osu in June of 2015, meaning he's been playing for a bit over 5 years now. In those 5 years, he's managed to reach top 100 global multiple times. He's mainly known for his streaming abilities, whether it's stamina intense death streams or spaced hard rock streams. Honestly, he's an amazing all-rounder. Well, minus the DT part. His consistency is also something else to behold, as well as being a pretty good tournament player, but I'll touch more on this later. I pretty much see this guy on the top 50 for any maps I think are fun, and also newly ranked maps. And usually fun maps for me include like streams, alternating, tech, and all that kind of stuff. Cappy has a lot of history, and he has so many cool plays that it would take way too long to go over all of them. So I'll try to hit some of the high ones, as well as some of the lesser known ones. With that introduction out of the way, let's get into the first part, his early history. Although he registered in June of 2015, he didn't start playing much until November of that same year. 1 month later in December, he would actually set his highest play count with 4,658 plays. Going by what his profile says, he got his first 100 PP play in February 2016. Honestly, that's a little slow, but everyone has to start somewhere. He would go on to get his first 200 PP play just 3 months later in May of that same year. So far, nothing super special here. Most of the plays I can find from 2016 all have really high accuracy, like over 99%. Nearly all of them use hidden too, something he would continue for a long time. Sometime in mid-2016, Cappy decided that he wanted to get better at streaming. Not just better, but consistent. He had his mindset on becoming extremely good at this one thing. Well, honestly, he mainly just wanted to pass some Dragon Force maps, but with this as his goal, he would unknowingly become one of the best stream players of all time. All this practice started paying off in June 2017. There's a clear switch from maps more focused on jumps to stream and burst maps. He started setting plays on maps like First, Dark Flight Dreamer, United, and so on. On August 8th, 2017, he would show off his consistency and improvement with his play on the 10-minute long map, Save Me. With over 99 accuracy and 4 misses, his play would still come in at 408 PP, his first 400 actually. Did I mention that he was also using hidden? Not many people get to say that Save Me was their first 400 PP play. After this play, he would start setting scores on other stream maps such as Blue Zenith, From Undercover, Sidetrack Day, and just so many more. This was a huge turning point for him. Like, his skill would drastically shoot up from here. By the way, I thought it was worth mentioning that he would FC Save Me with Hidden, with Hard Rock, and even Sudden Death. Dude, I'm telling you, his consistency is crazy. His next big achievement would be October of that same year. He would hit 4 digits. I'm not quite sure which play put him over the barrier, but he made it regardless. Anyways, his next big accomplishment would be breaking the 500 PP barrier only 5 months later. That's right, in March 2018 he would FC Sidetrack Day 3 dimensions to get over 500 PP. His consistency was really starting to show, and some people started to notice him. However, his lack of social media presence is what I really think made him go under the radar. Oh, speaking of his consistency, another 5 months later, he would go up another 100 PP to get his first 600. Do you want to try to guess the map? If you guess Sidetrack Day again, you'd be correct. But this time he used Sudden Death. With this play, he surpassed his old score that had 45 100s to only having 10. That improvement might not seem like a lot, but the change in accuracy was enough to get him over 600 PP. During this time, he just kept setting more and more plays on stream maps. After another 5 months, what the heck, he actually goes up 100 PP every 5 months. Tragedy would strike. He would go on to play Legend of Millennium, where this would happen. He missed? No way. It can't be that bad. Yeah, he lost out on 120 PP because of that one miss. His first 700. Gone. Reduced to atoms. Getting ever closer to 700 PP, Cappy would set a new top play on Raise My Sword with 695 PP. Hey guys, post-editing Crawford here. On his profile, he says that this play was his first 700, but the site that I used to research all this, it says 695, so yeah, I don't know. Take that how you will. This might be because of the PP balance, I'm not sure entirely, but I just wanted to throw that out there. With an attitude of never giving up, he would set his first 700 1 month later in February. The mapper is Cine. 4 words. Foreground Eclipse Songs Compilation. Ending the play with 2 misses, it was still worth the sizable amount of 748 PP. Personally, I think this play is super impressive. To keep 99.6 act the entire 6.5 minute map, that's just crazy. Alright, I keep bringing up little bits and pieces. I think a large part of why Cappy mainly flies under the radar is, like I said before, just a general lack of social media promotion and presence. I don't know the guy personally, but I feel like if one of the best and most consistent stream players in Osu actually promoted his Twitch or YouTube, he would grow pretty fast. However, even without him promoting that kind of stuff, I think it's just crazy how he doesn't even have that many followers or friends on the website. Like, I swear, I always see this guy on the leaderboards. Looking at the OsuStaps website, you can see every time he's gotten a play that is downloadable. I'm not actually sure where the cutoff for a score being saved is, but there's 65 pages of scores for him, with each page showing 24 scores. This website shows over 1,500 maps that he has been on the leaderboard. I really don't understand how more people don't know about him with all these scores. Anyways, back to progression. He kept setting new top plays, getting closer and closer to 800. This time, taking 6 months instead of 5, Cappy would once again revisit the Foreground Eclipse Songs comp. It's the last day of August, and Cappy, he's starting to sweat. He's on a deadline or something. He manages to make it all the way to the end of the map with extremely high accuracy. This is it, the moment he's been waiting for. All he has to do is hit this last stream with good accuracy, and that's his newest top play. Omae wa mou shindeiru. Worth a whopping 811 PP, it's an amazing play. I don't think it will be a stop play forever though. If I look at the trends, it seems like his last few 100 PP barriers have all had 5 months between them. This means you can expect 900 PP by February 2021. Okay, maybe don't expect that, but honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. Although his rank fluctuates kind of often, it seems like he's always improving. I have no doubt that he will continue to play consistently. It's hard to say where he'll go from here, but hopefully he'll start getting some more recognition. With the history of his top plays out of the way, let's get into some more interesting stuff. When I talk about consistency, it's one thing to just talk about it, but actually seeing it is something else. Besides having over 99 accuracy on nearly every play, I already mentioned that his profile accuracy is 99.48 right now. Honestly, that's pretty cool. If you take the time to watch his replays, you'll find that his unstable rate is usually in the 60 to 70 range, which again just solidifies how consistent he really is. I feel like every time I download a new map, I see this dude on the leaderboard. Every time I play a map I think it's challenging, He's on the leaderboard, like for real. I see this guy everywhere. When I say challenging maps, I'm not just talking about like stream maps. He's extremely proficient at other types of maps like tech. Oh, and about leaderboards, he currently has 34 first place ranks, and believe me, those aren't on easy maps. When it comes to tournaments, Cappy prevails here. With a win rate of almost 54%, he wins over half his matches. I want to point out that I'm not entirely sure how accurate this ELO website is. I don't know if they actually keep track of every tournament. It doesn't look like they keep track of team tournaments, which could have a huge impact. I tried looking for myself since I've been in 2 tournaments and nothing came up under my name, so that's just something to keep in mind. When I interviewed Cappy with my patented text file, he said that part of his continued love for this game comes from the tournament scene, with wins over people such as I'm a Fancy Lad, Korum, Sealing Waffle, Ventus, Rairiku, and even Beast Troll MC, just to name a few. He's shown that he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Although he hasn't won any tournaments, he still performs really well and really consistent. Just to bring up a few placings, in the North American Tournament 2019, he made it to top 8 semifinals. At the beginning of 2020, he participated in the Gaucho Cup, where he made it to top 16 with 4 wins and 2 losses. Again, I'm pretty sure this website only tracks solo tournaments, so if you check it out, just keep that in mind. From here to the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some of his impressive plays that showcase different skill sets and go over the interview section afterwards. Another play that is worth showing off is on the song Divinity. This map is full of bursts and split streams. He has the number 1 spot on the leaderboard with an unfortunate 1 miss. It's worth noting here that the only other person with a 1 miss on this is Dectopia, and even then his accuracy was nearly 2% lower. Another underlooked play is his 1 miss on Painter of the Tempest. If you don't know this map, oh boy, you're in for a treat. This is a 16-minute map full of death streams that takes the stamina out of even top players. He does not have the highest accuracy on this map, but without the miss, he would be one of the few FCs. So, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that the most upvoted score post for him on Reddit was a recent play. Well, if you're wondering what that play was, it is an SS choke on the song Giryu Kaiko. It pains me to see the 1/100 in this score. No matter how unfortunate this choke is, this play is just another testament to his consistency that I keep bringing up. I'm going to go through the interview at this point just in case you wanted to learn some more about Cappy and his story. Where did you discover Osu and what made you want to start playing it?
Back in June of 2015, my friends and I were hanging out in TeamSpeak playing various random games, and one of my friends linked Osu and told us to play it. I would say 5 of us played in a multi-lobby together for a few hours playing easy songs. We played for a little bit more the following days, but eventually got bored. I started playing again about a month later, mainly playing solo.
Do you have a passion for Osu, or is it just another game?
My passion for the game isn't at an all-time high, but I still love playing tournaments and setting scores.
What do you think about your rate of improvement?
I've played for quite a while now, so I wouldn't say I improved insanely fast or anything. When you sink hours into playing Osu, improvement will just be natural. I definitely could have tried harder and improved faster, but I would have almost certainly burnt myself out.
When did you start taking the game serious and start playing for ranks? Assuming that you play for ranks and not just for fun.
I'd say it was near the beginning of 2016 that I had sunk tons of time into playing Osu and ranking up for the first time. There was something addicting about setting a score and going up thousands of ranks. I still do play for ranks occasionally, but I find it more fun to go for unique scores nowadays.
Who are you inspired by? What did they inspire you to do or change about your own playing?
Early on, I took heavy inspiration from Index and Shigetora. even going as far to copy Shiggy's grip and tapping style when I first got a tablet. Recently though, I've been taking inspiration from top tournament players such as I'm a Fancy Lad, Digital Hypno, and Bubble Man.
Why no DT scores?
DT aim plays have never exactly been part of my skill set. Ever since I truly got into playing, I never really felt the desire to play these maps. Recently, I wanted to improve my speed, and I'm trying to branch out into DT, but it feels daunting at times.
Do you have any rivalries?
Even though I have friends who play and post their scores, I never really felt like I've had a rival. I've always been playing against myself, I'd say.
One of the other notable plays that I want to bring up include What You Do. This is a 7.17 star map, full of space bursts, streams, and even a somewhat technical section. Cappy takes the #1 spot on this map as the only person with an FC. This score was set nearly a year ago as well, and still hasn't been beaten by anyone. What keeps you motivated to keep playing and improving?
Tournaments usually motivate me to play and keep my skill where it is, but honestly I don't know what motivates me. Maybe it's just the feeling of self-improvement that's addicting.
Do you have a past with music or rhythm games?
Nope, Osu was my first rhythm game, and I have no past with music.
Do you like socializing with others in the community?
I have my own friends outside of the game, so I don't spend too much time socializing within the community. But of course I'm not afraid of you people, and I won't run away if you message me. Usually.
Do you think people recognize you and your accomplishments, or do you feel unnoticed?
I definitely don't feel unnoticed. I don't think very highly of my accomplishments, especially when compared to other people in the community. So it always means a lot to me when someone posts a score, speaks highly of me, or messages me congratulating me.
What has been your best and your worst experiences so far with Osu?
Almost all my highs and lows in this community have been involving the tournament scene. Winning a match feels incredible, but losing a match can sometimes be incredibly demotivating, especially when you feel at fault.
Do you plan on quitting anytime in the foreseeable future?
No, not really. I might take some breaks, and unless I lose all enjoyment from this game, I don't see myself stopping.
How far do you really want to make it?
I'd like to make it far, top 50 and beyond, but I don't want to make any promises I can't keep, but I expect improvement. I'm currently 19 years old, born in November 28th of 2000. I played mouse up until July 2017. Spent a lot of my time back then playing hard mouse with halftime and practicing long death streams. I started to learn HR back in September 2017 when I realized how far behind my HR skills were. My obsession with streaming started back in mid-2016 when I really needed to pass and play Dragon Force maps. I played for passes mostly in mid-late of 2016.
While I could keep going on and on about the cool plays, you can find his replays on pretty much any stream maps you have. I wanted to make this video because Cappy is on nearly every leaderboard I see, and when I found out how many people don't know about him, it genuinely surprised me. So guys, go give Cappy a follow on the Osu site, and I'll be sure to put any socials he does have in the description. You can also find my social links in the description as well. I hope all of you have a wonderful day.
So I say. That's why